Hello everyone, welcome to this YouTube channel Unshackling Sudokus and Puzzles. Hope all of you have been doing good. I am Kishore and today we will solve a little killer Sudoku that occurred in the Logic Masters India Sudoku Mahabharat contest of last year. Now the round was authored by Rakesh and Pranav Kamesh. Both are excellent solvers and they have represented India in the World Sudoku Championships in the past. Rakesh is also the support admin at Logic Masters India, which is hosting some beautiful Sudoku and puzzle contests. I will add the link to the contest in the description, so do check it out. With that, we will move to the rules of the Sudoku. In addition to standard rules, we have clues given outside the grid. So what those clues indicate are the sum of the digits which occur in the direction of the arrow. So for example, let's take this 21. It is pointing in this direction, right? So the 21 clue is the sum of this cell, this cell, this cell and this cell. And similarly, if you look at any other clue, 34 clue for instance, 34 will be the sum of these 4 cells. And digits may repeat in the direction of the arrow. There is no restriction on that part. So with that, we'll start solving the Sudoku. There is a 1 here that gives an easy number here. We'll put a 1. And because of this 2, we can get a 2 here. A 4 is here, so we can get the 4. A 3 is here, and we can get the 3. Now let's look at the next clue. There is a 5 here. Now 5 can be satisfied in 2 ways, especially when the total is of 2 cells. So it can either be 1 4 or 2 3. But 1 4 is not possible, so it is going to be a 2 and 3. But 2 is in row 1 column 9. So this is a 2 and this is a 3. Okay, now we have a 6 clue here, right? So 6 can be satisfied in 2 ways, which is by using 1 and 5 or 2 and 4. We can't have a 2 and 4 because we have placed a 2 already in box 3. So it's going to be a 1 and a 5, but we have 1 in row 1 column 1. So this is a 1 and this is a 5. Now let's look at this 22 total. There are 3 cells along the direction. Now a 22 made up of 3 cells can only be 9 plus 8 plus 5 or 9 plus 7 plus 6. There is no other possibility. But you can't have 9 plus 8 plus 5 because we have placed the 5 here already. So this is going to be your 679, 679 and 679. The other possibility. And the rest of the cells will be 3, 4, 8 in some order. Right? Now is this clue giving some information? 28. Yeah. So can you have an 8 in row 3 column 7? No, because if you have 8 in row 3 column 7, then these 2 cells will add up to 7, right? Now you need to make a total of 21 with just 2 cells, which is not going to be possible. So this is not an 8, and 8 will be in one of these 2 cells. So that 8 will combine either with 3 or a 4. If it is 8 plus 3, then you need to satisfy 17 more, and that will be satisfied in with 8 and 9 and 8 and 9 as possibilities, because 17 has only one combination. Suppose if it is 8 plus 4, then you have 12. Then you need to satisfy 16 more, which can be satisfied using 7 and 9 or 8 and 8. So we'll just add the 7 pencil mark here. Okay, hope you are able to follow until here. Now we'll move on to this 6 clue. 6 is either 1 5 or 2 and 4. So 1 and 2 are not going to be possible in column 9. So this is going to be a 1 or a 2, and this will be a 5 or a 4. Right? Okay, let's see box 1 now. If we add 1 plus 5 plus 16, that gives us a 22. Right? So that means these 6 cells add up to 22. So we have 3 more cells in that box. Now in any Sudoku, sum of row or a column or a box will always be 45. So since we have 22 in these 6 cells, row 2 column 3, row 3 column 2 and row 3 column 3 will add up to 23 to satisfy the 45 total in that box. And when the total is 23 using 3 cells, it can only be satisfied in one way, which is by using 6, 8 and 9. And now 4, 5, 7 are left in that box, so this will be a 5, 7 because of this 4. This will be 4, 5, 7 and this will be 4, 5 and 7. we use this 21 total to our advantage now. Yeah, so what you have to think like is, if you have a 6 here, similar to what we did here, if you remember, we assumed that we started by using that this cell cannot be an 8. So similarly, if you think that this cell is 6, row 3 column 3, then these two cells will add up to 17, right? The minimum possible value that is going to come here is row 1 column 4 is 4. So 17 plus 4 will add up to a 21, and with this cell the total will become more than 21. So you can't have a 6 here, so this will either be 8 or a 9. So this is going to be 6 and 8, or this will be 6 and 9. So just in case it is required for us, I'll just mark a 6 in these two cells and 8 in these two cells. So this will be 6 plus 8 plus something, or 6 plus 9 plus these two cells. Now if you have 6 plus 8, both of them add up to 14. So these two cells minimum add up to 14, right? So you should have anything less than or equal to 6 in row 1 column 4, because if you have a 7 or more, then this total will become more than 21. So this is going to be 6 or less, and now it can only be 4 or 6, because 1, 2, 3, 5 is not possible. And similarly we can use the same reduction to say that this will be 6 or less. So this is going to be 3, 5 or 6, because 1, 2 and 4 are there, right? Now we have almost marked possibilities along every total. Let's focus a little bit on this 34 clue. If you look at the maximum possible values of cells along this direction, so what will that, I'll just mark that in blue. So this will be 9, this will be a 9, this will be an 8 and 9 in some order, and this has to be a 9, which add up to 9 plus 8 plus 9, which gives you 35. So that means that in each of the cells we'll have either the maximum value or one less than that, because when we add up the cells using their maximum possible values, we reach a total of 35. So that means each of the cell, or if you consider a box, for example these two cells, they will add up to either their maximum possible value or one less than the maximum possible value to satisfy this 34 clue. So that means this cell will either be 8 or a 9, this cell will either be 8 or a 9, and these two cells will add up to either their maximum possible value, which is 17, or one less than the maximum possible value, which is 16. So that means, so 17 will give you 8 and 9, and 16 will give you 7 and 9, right? Okay, now if you focus a little bit along this 21 clue, what happens if this cell is, let's say, 5 or a 6? So if you have a 5, for example, in row 4 column 1, then 5 plus 6 plus 8, which gives you 19 already, right? 6 plus 8 plus 5, plus 4 will take you the total to 21. So if I am not wrong, all these cells along the 21 direction will have to take their minimum possible values to satisfy the 21 clue. So 4 plus 6 plus 8 gives you a 18 total, plus 3 will get you to 21. So all those cells will take the minimum values, they can't take anything else. This will be 6 or 8, and this has to be a 4 to satisfy the total, and this has to be a 9 now, and this cannot be a 9 because of this 9, so this will be a 7 or 8. Now if you remember, I told you earlier that this can either be 17 or 16 to satisfy the 13 total. Now both of these possibilities, 17 or 16, will require a 9. So this means this is a 9. So we can remove the 4 from here because of this 4. So this will be a 5 or a 7, and that gives a 4 in box 1 now. And this is not going to be a 4 now, so this is a 3 or 8. The 4 is confined to one of these two cells. Okay, if you look at this 8 clue now, 8 can be composed in 3 ways. it's either 1 and 7, 2 and 6, or 3 and 5, but 3 and 5 are not possible because 3 is in column 1 and 2, so it's either 1 and 7 or 2 and 6. So because 1 and 2 are here, so this will be your 1 and 7 or 2 and 6, right? Okay, we have a 5 here. We can straight away mark a 7 using classic rules. That gives a 5 here. And because of this 7 now, we get an 8 here. Right? And that gives a 6 and an 8 here. And we have pencil marked 8 in one of these two cells. That means this cell will be an 8. I'll remove the corner pencil mark from there. So this will be a 3-4 pair in some order. And because of the 6, we can remove the pencil mark of 6 from this cell. This will be a 7 or 9. We have marked a 7 now, so we can remove the 7 from those cells. This will be a 6, 8 and 9 to complete the row. And we have a 9 here, so this will be a 6 or a 7. Okay, we have marked 17 here, right, in box 7. So for the 34 clue, these two cells should add up to a 17, which can be done only in one way. If that is, if this is 8, this is 9, and if this is 9, this is 8. So that implies that this cell cannot be 8 or a 9, but it's not of much use. So okay, so you have 8, 9 here, and now in column 1 there is only two cells left for the 8 and 9 to get locked into, and this will be these two cells. And now we can mark a 6, 7 here, right? 8 and 9 will have to go into these two cells in column 1. Okay, the 3 in box 7 has only one cell left now, that is row 7, column 3, because 3 cannot be in column 2 and 3 cannot be in row 9. So 3 will be in row 7, column 3. So this, we can pencil mark the remaining cells. 3, 4, 8, 9, 6, 7 have been marked, so this will be 1, 2 or a 5. Sorry, this will be a 1, 2 or a 5, and this will be a 1, 2 or a 5. Right? Hope you are able to follow until here. Okay, now in row 9 we have a 1, 2 pair marked, so this cell will be only a 5, it cannot be a 1 or a 2, this will be a 5. And since we have placed a 5 here, let's focus a little bit on this 19 clue. So we have a 6, 7 here. I think it will just be enough to fit those digits. Let's just try out the minimum digits. The minimum values in these two cells are 1 and 2 in some order, so this will be a 1. So this will be a 1 and 2 in some order. So that will get us to 5 plus 3, 8, plus 1, 9, plus 3, 12, plus 6, 18. Okay, okay. So it's just the reverse concept of what we did for the 34 clue. So what it implies is that each digit or each box, depending on the way you see, will either be the minimum of those values, right, or one less than that, correct? Because when you have the minimum values there, you are getting to 18 clue. So it means that each of the cells along that direction or group of cells, if you consider a box, will either be the minimum possible value or one greater than that to satisfy the 19 total. So for example, if you have the 5 here, and then these two cells can either add up to 3 or they can add up to 4. There is a leeway of 1 to reach up to the 19 total. So that means we can pencil mark those cells now comfortably. I'll remove the corner pencil marks from everywhere. So these two cells will either be the minimum value, which is 3, or 1 greater than that, which is 4. So that means pencil marks will be 1 and 2, 1 and 2, or 1 and 3, 1 and 3. Right? So this is either minimum value or 1 greater than that, so 1 and 2. And this is, these two cells add up to their minimum value, which is 3. So 1 and 2, 1 and 2, or 1 greater than that, which is a 4. So 1 and 3, 1 and 3. Okay, in either way, we'll have 1 in one of these two cells. I'll use a corner pencil mark. We need a 1. Otherwise, this 19 total is going to go haywire. And this will be a 1. There has to be a 1 in one of these two cells, because without a 1, if you add up the total, it will be more than 19. Okay, so we have marked every possibility for all of the outside clues except this 16 clue. We have not even come near this 16 clue. Let us see if that is giving us some information. So if you see along row 9, 1 and 2 are logged in row 9 column 2 and row 9 column 8, and 3, 4, 5 have been marked. So this will be 6, 7, 8 or 9, can only be that. And yeah, there is a lot of possibility for these three cells. So let us focus a little bit on classic rules to see if we get some digits. In box 9, we can pencil mark 8 to one of these two cells because 8 is in column 7 and 8 is in row 8, so 8 can only be in these two cells. Okay, so if you have an 8 in row 7 column 8, and then if you add that with 6, which is the minimum possible value in that cell, so you will need a 1 and a 1 in row 7 column 9 and row 6 column 9 and row 8 column 7, but 1 and 1 is not going to be possible because of this one. So that means you can't have an 8 here. So this will be an 8, right? You need not check for other possibilities because if you add 8 and 7 and then substitute 1 and 1, the total is going to be getting more than 16. So if this is 8, so we can remove the 8 possibility from there. So this will be 7, 9. Okay, along column 3 we have placed 6 digits. The remaining digits are 1, 2 and 4 in some order, and this means these three will be 5, 6 and 7. Okay, this 16 total should help us now because I don't see any other continuation anywhere. So if you look at column 9, 1, 2, 3, 8 have been placed. So this is going to be 4, 5, 6, 7 and 9, right? It can be one of those 5 digits. But if you have a 9 here and then if you add a 6, you already get to a 15, and then you have to add up these two cells, which will get you the total more than 16. So this is not a 9, so it's only 4, 5, 6 and 7. Okay, so let us think in this angle using box 9. We have a 6 clue here, which is going to add up to 1 and 5 or 2 and 4, right? Let us assume it's 1 and 5. So what happens here? So the minimum possible cells here are 2 and 4, right? And if you use 2 and 4 here in row 8 column 9 and row 9 column 8, then the minimum possible value in these two cells will be 1 and 5. So in either case, the minimum possible total in these two cells will be a 6. That is, row 7 column 8 and row 8 column 7 will have to add up to minimum 6. Clear? So, okay, and because of that, the minimum possible value in row 9 column 6 is a 6, and the minimum possible value in row 6 column 9 is a 4. So if you add all the minimum possible values, that gets you up to a 16. So you cannot have any other digits there. Hope it's clear. So this will be a 6, so this will be a 4, and this will be 1 and 2 or a 4 and 5 in some order, right? You would have to add up to 6 only. So that gives you a 5 here using classic rules. Because of this 4, this is a 5, so this is a 1. So these two cells will be 2, 4 in some order because 1 and 5 is not possible. And this will be a 6, 7, 9 to complete that row. Now that we have placed 1 here, so this will be a 2. Row 9 column 2 will be a 2. So for the 8 total, so this will be a 6, this is a 7, and this will be a 1, which completes that box. And now we have pencil marked 1 in one of these two cells, so this will be a 1 now because of this one. This is not going to be a 1. It's a 2 or a 3. And along column 9 we can pencil mark the remaining possibility. So this will be 7, 8 and 9, and this is going to be 7 or a 9. And box 9, 1, 3, 5, 8, 2, 4 have been filled. So 6, 7, 9 are remaining, and 7, 9 we have in columns row 7, so this will be a 6, this will be a 7 or a 9, and because of the 6 here we get a 9 here using classic rule. So this will be an 8 and this will be a 6, and now 8 plus 8 gives you 16. for this 28 glue we need 12 more, so 3 plus 9 or 4 plus 8, but 4 plus 8 is not going to be possible, so this is a 3 and this will be a 9. That gives you 7 here because of classic, so this is 6, this is 4, this is a 7, and any more straight digits, so you have a 7 here, so this will be a 9, this will be a 7, and because of this 4 we have a 4 here and a 2 here, and this will be a 3 now. Okay, and if you remember, I told you this 19 total will either be the minimum possible value in those cells or just one more than that. Now this box, if you see as a single component, it has already reached the maximum possible value in those two cells. Now you can't have anything more than their minimum possible values in all these cells, because let's for example assume 5 plus 3 plus 1 is 9. Let's assume that this cell is 2, so 9 plus 2 is 11, then 1 plus 2 will get you to 14, and then plus 6 will get you to 20. So that means all the cells will have to be their minimum possible values. So this is a 1, this will be 1 and 2 in some order, but 2 is here, so this will be a 1, so this will be a 2. Now if you add 8 plus 9 plus 1, 10 plus 1, 11 plus 3, 14, and then you get a 19. So along column 7 we have 1, 2, 6, 7, 4, 8, 9. The left out digits are 3 and 5, but 3 is in row 4, so this is a 3, this is a 5, and these two will be 6, 8 in some order. Now I think it's only classic part remaining mostly. So along row 8 this will be 4 and 7, and this will be 8 or a 9, this will be 2 and 5, and you have 1 in rows 5 and 6, so that gives you a 1 in box 4. And because of this 4 you get the 4 here and a 2 here, and you can remove the 5 pencil mark from row 4 column 2 and the 7 pencil mark from here because of this 7. Okay, along row 3 remaining digits are 1, 2 and 7, but 1 is in column 5 and 6, so this will be a 1, and this will be 2, 7 in some order. So this will be a 5 or a 9, this will be 3, 5, 9, this will be 3, 5, 9. Are all the totals satisfied? Okay, this total we still have to satisfy, 38, and this total we still have to satisfy. Okay, along row 4 the remaining digits are 4, 6, 7 and 8, but 6 and 8 are not possible in column 6, so this will be 4 or a 7, this will be 4, 7, 8, and this will be 6, 7, 8. Is filled. Okay, 38. Okay, this is fantastic. If you look at 38 clue, and just if you add 5 and 4 and 1 and 7, that is, I am trying to add the fixed digits along those diagonal direction, right? That gives you 1 plus 7, 8 plus 4, 12 plus 5, 17. Now we need to satisfy a total of 21 from these three cells, right? But what are the maximum possible value in these three cells? This will have a maximum, I will put in the corner to indicate that. This will have a maximum of 7, and this will also have a maximum of 7 only. Why can't 8 and 9 be here? Because I told you earlier that row 6 column 1 and row 9 column 4 will be 8 and 9 in some order. That means you can't have an 8 or a 9 in row 6 column 4, right? Because if you have 8 here, then both of these cells will be 9. If you have 9 here, then both of these cells will be 8, which we cannot satisfy the 34 total. So maximum possible value here is a 7, and maximum possible value here is a 7. Now if you add all these three, that gives you a 21 total. Fantastic. So that means these three cells will be 7. That gives you a 4 here, a 4 here, a 7, a 2 here. This is a 5 using classic rule, so this is a 2. And column 6 has 3 and 9 yet to be filled, so this will be 3, 9, and this will be a 3 and 9. So this will be 6 and 8, right, for the row. 6 is in column 5, so this will be a 6, and this is an 8, and that finishes box 8. Okay, for the row 4 we need to fill a 5 and a 9. Okay, along column 5 we have to fill 2, 3 and 5 because 6, 7, 8, 1, 4, 9 have been placed already and 2 and 3 are in row 6. So this will be a 5. That gives a 9 and a 3 here. Using classic rule, that gives a 9 here, a 5 here, a 3 here. This will be a 2 to complete the box. Now it's all straight classic rule. So this will be a 9, this is an 8, this is an 8, this is a 6, and this is a 6, and that is a 5. And that completes this absolutely gorgeous Sudoku. Hope you all enjoyed watching this little killer video. If you like the video, please subscribe to our channel. We hope to make more such videos in the future. See you soon.